All right. I may have talked to some of you about a student I had worked with a few years ago named Juanita about her writing and her memoir. But I think most of you I haven't. Anyway, she started out her writing talking about getting home and walking through her brown door and dropping her backpack. And I remember asking her, why did she include that in her writing? The fact that about this brown door. And her response to me was to look at me like I was a little crazy and say, well, Mr. Light, it's because the door is brown. And she did not include this part, but she kind of gave me that duh look. Anyhow, I asked again, I realize that the door is brown, but why are you putting that specific piece of information into your memoir? And I think the reason I was asking that of her and what we're going to be talking about today is this idea that just because some sort of detail is true doesn't mean that's what we're going to put in our memoir. We want to be sure we're adding details that say something about us, that say something about what we're trying to communicate. And so what we're going to talk about today is that, we have talked about that we reveal ourselves through the idea of, showing our internal thoughts. But today we're going to talk about how we can reveal ourselves by spotlighting details that reveal whatever it is that we want to show. I like mystery shows, TV shows, movies, all that good stuff. And a lot of times they'll start off with like maybe a cat running across the lawn or a leaky faucet or a neighbor bringing a cake over. And what I've come to figure out and realize is that they never show these small things by accident. Normally it has something to do with the solution. And so really good writing, whether it's on TV, whether it's in a book, they will give you these clues along the way. They don't waste details. They use these details for important things. And so in talking with Juanita about her brown door, we started brainstorming ways that she could kind of change her writing to show importance, to show something about her family, to show something about what she was wanting to communicate. And so one of the versions that we came up with was this idea of returning home and walking through the door and seeing these kind of bikes thrown around and the hula hoops and how it showed that it was the last day before school started. So it was the last day of summer. And so including these details about the bikes being strewn and the hula hoops kind of being around, it just gives the reader more of a vision of what you're wanting to communicate. I've shared a document with you on a link below the assignment. So if you haven't opened that up, you can pause the video and open that up now. But I'm also going to read it here as well. This is written by I think an older student, but it uses some of the good or some of the details that we're wanting to kind of explore today. So I'm going to read it to you, and then there's going to be some instructions to follow on your copy of the document, okay? So we'll see how this works. So this is called a family portrait. So as I'm reading this, kind of pay attention to the details that the author is using to kind of show their show about themselves and show about their family. So this is called a family portrait. As we approached my grandparents' sprawling farmhouse last Christmas, my brother and I went silent. In a single file, suitcases in hand, we marched down the ramshackle brick path. The storm door slammed shut as we entered the mudroom, then trooped up the short flights of stairs, past the boxes of apples, home-laid eggs, the dog food, and into the kitchen. Catalogs were strewn across the tables, Christmas cards dangled from the walls. Dogs lay curled under tables and chairs, and cousins of all shapes and sizes, 34 in all, perched on every surface. In the corner, Virginia's parrot squawked, "Hello, Charlie! Hello, Charlie!" as he swung chaotically in his cage. Virginia, the head of the family, scanned the room. In a conspiring tone, she asked, "Did you hear what happened to Bradley?" We had all heard the news. Nevertheless, the room grew silent. "He wrote a lousy essay and got put on the waiting list for Harvard." We shook our heads in collective pity. No one spoke. It was as if church bells had rung and the clan was grieving. Bradley had blown it. So at this point, what we're going to do is, here we go. If you can go to your copy of the document, what you're going to do on there is kind of highlight areas that you think show details that reveal something about the author and about his family. Okay, so you're just going to kind of highlight the text, and you can even add a comment. Just somehow show something that you're showing that this is in fact a detail that shows something. And then after you do that, I'm going to ask you to do something else. So again, you could pause the video here. That would be a really good idea. And then come back. Or you can ignore that instruction and keep listening. The second thing you're going to do is this. Think about your own home. It could be the apartment, it could be your house, it could be a finca, whatever it is. Think about your own doorway, your own entrance to this place. And I want you to think about the first thing you see and you do when you arrive home. And after you get that memory in your head, underneath the story that I shared with you, so underneath a portrait, a family portrait, I want you to type a story of a time when you arrived home and walked into your place. It's not a long story, just a very short few sentences. Use details, not because they are true, right? But because they reveal whatever it is you want to show about yourself, your family, or your home. So again, you're going to type that underneath the family portrait paragraph. And I think that's it. So rewatch the, the very end though, as we're bopping along here. So when it comes to writing for today, so after you type that, short few sentences about your entranceway and coming home. These are your options you have today for writing. You may be thinking about the texts, the drafts you've already written. I know you don't have them with you, but you can think about them. You should remember what you've been doing. So just because you don't have your writing notebook, just because you don't have your materials is not an excuse to not do this work today. You know what you've been writing. You know what it's about and what details you've included and all that good stuff. So just really think about it. So you can kind of reflect and think, are you really creating a window in which we get to see who you are, see more of you, see more of your family? Have you been including those important details? You could ask yourself, what is it I want to show about myself? What do I want my reader to know about me and my family? And start redrafting with that lens in mind. You could also be rewriting the lead of your memoir, and being more careful about the details that you're sharing. So there's a lot of different options that we have today. You can also be redrafting, revising, anything you want to do when it comes to your memoir. But remember, we only have today, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday of when we get back to have a finished, published piece that we will present on April 1st. So do not waste today. As always, if you have questions, let me know. And rewatch the video if you have problems. I've also attached this presentation so you can look through it there. The world is yours, so just use the resources that I'm sharing you, and don't just do nothing and ask questions, okay? Try and figure it out for yourself. Bye.